People ask me about the celebrities that I've met or interviewed over the period of time, and I find some of them, as you can imagine, fascinating, particularly the legendary ones. People like this, Sir Richard Attenborough, famous for many people, of course, as the producer of the wonderful movie Gandhi. But of course, there's so much more to Dickie, as he's famously known. And I wanted to share a couple of stories that he told me about his career, because a lot of you said, what was he like? And I have to say, utterly charming. I met him on a number of occasions, including another brilliant actor that's, sadly not mentioned so much today, but Sir John Mills, another one, just a brilliant actor that was a sort of mainstay of British films throughout the 40s, 50s and 60s. But Dickie Attenborough really took on one of the most grisly roles that you can imagine way back in the early 70s, and that literally changed the course of his career. And also, people thought rather strange about him. It's hard to imagine this now. Let me explain. Hi, nice to see you. How are you? You all right? Thank you. Yes, grisly. Grisly always gets you thinking, doesn't it? Now, I've got to be honest with you. This particular story, as I say, was told to me by the brilliant actor Richard Attenborough. Now, cast your mind back to that awful time when, do you remember the Christie murders? 10 Rillington Place. Now, when I first came to London, I've got to be honest, chums, in the late 80s, that was one of the areas that people still talked about, because I first moved into an area not too far away from there. And here's the story, you see, I didn't know, because it all been, turned over. Nobody really knew where Rillington Place was. And then somebody who I was sharing a flat with at the time said, well, it could be here. And I thought, oh, goodness, don't say that. Now you're lying there at night thinking, is this 10 Rillington Place? Many years later, when I was lucky enough to meet Dickie Attenborough, who took on the role of John Christie in 10 Rillington Place, alongside John Hurt, Judy Geeson, and so many other wonderful actors, including Sam Kidd. I met Sam Kidd's son, actually, and he told me some wonderful stories about his late father, who was a wonderful actor, appeared in so many great British movies. But according to Dickie Attenborough, when he took on the role, he actually, first and foremost, had to have a meeting with the infamous British hangman, Mr. Piermont. And I think the interesting thing about that was, of course, he had and was there throughout all of those big events, social change in movement events. And at that point, Richard Attenborough told me that he was kind of against capital punishment, and that was the reason why he wanted to highlight it and took on the role. But as the role sort of immersed him, he said he absolutely changed his mind, simply because, when you look at the crime, the heinous crime that John Christie did, and went undetected for so many years, even though there were so many pitfalls and pointers to it, he said, couldn't quite believe it. Eventually, when the film was made, at first, he said they were struggling to get a big premiere because people found this a grisly thing. He said in this era, when I last spoke to him a few years back, he said this would have been like a streaming thing, like a TV movie of the week, a special. He said to put out a movie like that onto the big screen market was considered not palatable in any way. Of course, the thing about the 10 Rillington Place murders is, it's a little bit like the Jack the Ripper thing, isn't it? It brings out the macabre in people. I don't know if you know this, but because he wore an infamous sort of hat, it was known as the Christie hat for many years. And that particular company ended up going bust because men refused to wear it because they felt that people were criticising them for looking like him. I know, it's funny, isn't it, to think of how things went. As he pointed out, John Hurt, who was also a wonderful actor that I got to know, all thanks to his role as the guy inside the movie Scandal, which was all about Christine Keeler. He said he said that this was the best role of his career. He couldn't quite believe it. He, of course, played the poor guy that was wrongly, hung for the murders. Of course, he wasn't guilty of it at all. But back to Dickie, he said that when the movie came out, it really was a social movement because it really opened the debate about whether it was right or wrong to bring back capital punishment. But as he pointed out, many years down the line, of course, the forensics, everything to find that, are now far better. And so consequently, he said, it would work a lot better in this climate, given the rise of crime that we had. But way back in the early 70s, even he said, 10 Rillington Place, watching it on the big screen in a cinema with just him and his wife, sent a chill down his spine. And I defy any of the chums to watch it today. This clip's online. Whichever way you watch it, you do kind of think, goodness, I know it's a film, but how real to life is it? According to Dickie Attenborough, he met a few of the neighbours from that period, and they said that when he was in the makeup and the outfit, they did a double take, and they said, we find you so frightening because you've literally come to life as him. Such was a powerful performance. Hope you don't mind me sharing these memories, but it's always nice to remember those things. And if I could put the video up, I just don't own that footage to be able to put it up. Of course, even though you're in it, you're not allowed to show it. That's the magic of television, right? But we know it's all there. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.